These 8 facts broke comment sections, crashed DMs, and made people question everything they learned in school. July 2026 hit different. Here's every single one, back to back. This sounds fake, but a murder stayed unsolved for 3,000 years until one scan broke it open. Ramesses III, Egypt's most powerful pharaoh, had his throat nearly severed. In 2012, CT scans confirmed the cut was deliberate and fatal. But here's the dark part. A second mummy found nearby has bound wrists and a face frozen in terror. DNA proved it was his own son Pentawere, the man who ordered the kill. Half of you still won't believe a prince mummified his own father. Ancient Egypt kept secrets beyond murder. This sounds fake, but the builders of the pyramids went on strike and won. Around 1170 BC, the workers at Deir el-Medina downed tools and marched on the nearest temple, demanding their overdue wages, rations of bread, beer, and onions. It's the oldest recorded labor strike in human history. But here's the twist: these weren't slaves. They were paid, skilled state employees with documented contracts and sick days. And half of everything you were taught about pyramid builders was wrong. Turns out, the stars hold bigger surprises. Saturn is losing its rings, and they'll be completely gone by 2025 to 300 million years from now. Actually, NASA clocked it in 2018. Saturn's rings are draining into the planet at 10,000 kilograms per second. Entire rings raining down as icy dust. But here's the strangest part. Those rings are geologically brand new. They formed only 100 million years ago. Dinosaurs walked Earth before Saturn had rings. So technically, rings were never Saturn's permanent feature. We just got lucky with the timing. And that's why. But the deep ocean rivals outer space. This sounds fake, but there's a lake sitting at the bottom of the ocean with its own shoreline, its own waves, and its own waterfalls. It's called a brine pool, and the one in the Gulf of Mexico stretches nearly 4 kilometers wide. The water is so dense with salt, it floats like oil beneath the sea. Divers filmed it in 2016 and named it the Jacuzzi of Despair. But here's the disturbing part. Almost everything that touches it dies instantly. Almost. Send this to someone who thinks they know the ocean. Ancient ground hid more than pharaohs ever did. They pulled him out of the ground exactly as he fell, armor still on, spear at his side. In 2001, archaeologists in Salamis, Cyprus, unearthed an Iron Age warrior buried around 700 BC. His bronze armor sat so perfectly preserved, they reconstructed exactly how soldiers dressed for battle. But here's the wild part. His sacrificed horse lay directly on top of him. Nobody had touched that tomb in 2,700 years. Would you open it or seal it back forever? And that's exactly how. From buried warriors to living technology. This sounds fake, but a working computer already runs on living human brain cells, and it beats silicon at learning tasks. It's called DishBrain. In 2022, researchers at Cortical Labs grew real neurons on a chip and taught them to play Pong. The cells learned in 5 minutes. A silicon AI took 90. But here's the strange part: these neurons adapted without any code telling them how. They just figured it out, the way your brain does right now. Half of you will refuse to believe this even after watching twice. Living cells shocked us, so did dead water. Some ocean water sinks and doesn't resurface for 1,000 years. In the North Atlantic, cold, dense water plunges to the seafloor and locks into a conveyor called thermohaline circulation. The water you swam in last summer could take until the year 3000 to see sunlight again. But here's the strange part: if this conveyor slows down, Europe loses its heat source and plunges into a mini ice age within decades. And scientists have already detected it weakening since 1950. Send this to someone who thinks the ocean just sits there. And the ocean's last secret? It floats on wood. A merchant ship vanished, was salvaged, then sank again, and the second wreck sat hidden for 300 years. The Vasa was a Swedish warship that capsized in Stockholm Harbor in 1628 on its very first voyage. Sweden raised it in 1961 and found 95% of the hull intact, coins still in sailors' pockets. What kept it preserved was Baltic mud, with almost zero saltwater shipworm. It's now the world's only fully intact 17th century warship. Would you have gambled the salvage cost not knowing what you'd find? And that's why. 8 facts, 0 filler. and every single one is real. If your brain survived that, subscribe and drop a comment telling us which fact won July. We read every one.